United States. The Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway. An American true crime story. Scene 1, The Discovery. Kent, Washington, summer, 1982.
The morning sun glints off the Green River, the water calm and still. A young kid, tossing rocks from the bank, sees something floating near the surface.
At first, he thinks it's driftwood.
Then he realizes it isn't.
Minutes later, patrol cars roll in. Yellow tape stretches across the trees, radios crackle, and officers step carefully into the muddy water.
One detective mutters under his breath, "That's the second one this week."
Captain Frank Adamson exhales, squinting at the current. "Then we're not looking at an accident," he says. "We've got a killer."
The headlines hit fast, "The Green River Killer."
Scene 2, The Pattern.
Weeks pass, and more bodies turn up along the river, in wooded lots, off-side roads nobody drives anymore.
All young women, most working the streets around Seattle's Highway 99.
The detectives cover their office walls with maps and mugshots, drawing lines between locations. Detective Dave Reichert taps his pen on a cluster of pins. Whoever he is, he knows this area like the back of his hand. The frustration builds.
The evidence is thin. It's 1982, no modern DNA testing, no surveillance cameras, no cell phones. The task force is chasing a ghost. Scene 3, The First Suspect.
1984, a guy named Gary Ridgway walks into the station for questioning.
He's calm. Normal.
Mid-30s, neat haircut, blue work shirt with his name stitched on it. He paints trucks for a living.
Married. Attends church.
One detective leans forward.
"Gary, do you ever pick up prostitutes down on Pacific Highway?"
Gary shrugs.
"Maybe a couple times. I mean, they come up to your truck, you know? But I never hurt anybody." He passes a lie detector test and goes home. Detectives cross his name off the list. For now. Scene 4, The Task Force grows.
As the years roll on, the Green River Task Force becomes one of the biggest manhunts in Washington history. They even reach out to Ted Bundy, sitting on death row in Florida.
Bundy smirks through the glass.
He's gonna come back to the dump sites, he says.
He'll want to relive it. You want to catch him?
Watch the river.
It's eerie, but Bundy's right.
The killer returns to the scenes, over and over, without anyone seeing him.
Scene 5, Life goes on. By the early 90s, the murders slow down. The task force shrinks.
People assume the killer's gone, maybe dead, maybe in prison on something else.
Meanwhile, Gary Ridgway keeps painting trucks, mowing his lawn, waving to neighbors. He remarries. Goes to work on time. Nobody suspects a thing. Scene 6, DNA doesn't forget.
2 decades later, 2001.
A cold case lab in Seattle re-examines evidence using new DNA technology.
A technician studies the computer screen as a match pops up.
The name flashes in bold letters, Gary Leon Ridgway. Detectives move fast.
They find him leaving work, lunchbox in hand. Gary Ridgway, one officer says, "You're under arrest for the murders of the Green River victims." Ridgway stares, stunned.
Then he mutters, "You finally got me." Scene 7, The Confession.
Months later, Ridgway sits in an interrogation room, calm, detached, his hands folded.
"I killed them," he says flatly. "I didn't like prostitutes. I thought I was helping clean up the streets."
He remembers everything, where he picked them up, where he left them. He draws maps, points out spots in the woods only he could know. He confesses to more than 70 murders, though he's convicted for 49.
Scene 8, The Verdict. In 2003, the courtroom is packed. Families of the victims line the benches. Some weep, some just stare.
The judge reads the sentence. Life in prison, without the possibility of parole. Ridgway stands emotionless as the words echo through the room. Detective Reichert, who spent decades chasing him, watches quietly. "He looked so normal," he says afterward.
"That's what made him so dangerous." Epilogue.
Gary Ridgway now spends his life in a Washington prison cell, no parole, no escape, no more lies. The Green River still winds through the forests outside Seattle, peaceful and quiet, hiding the memories of a time when its waters carried a terrible secret. And for those who lost someone, that river will never truly be still again.